call the city council meeting to order for, excuse me. Thank you all. I'm going to go ahead and call the city council meeting for April 17th to order. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Boudreaux.
Here.
Kenyon.
Here.
Petty.
Here.
Tennant. Farrell.
Here.
Adams.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
Here. Would you join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we have from the Arkansas Recreation and Parks Association Awards presentation from Connie Edmiston from the Parks Department. Good evening, Connie.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I am so proud to announce that at our annual Arkansas Recreation and Park Association conference held in March, the city of Fayetteville was awarded 3 different awards. So we're very proud of those and would like to acknowledge the recipients tonight. The first one, we received the Therapeutic Program of the Year, and that was awarded to the Fayetteville Senior Activity and Wellness Center at Walker Park. And Sherry Napier was unable to be here today, so I'm sorry about that. But she is very excited. The whole senior center is very excited to receive that award, and their plaque is already up on their wall. The next is the Group Volunteer of the Year. And can I have you guys come up? We have a whole crew of them. Not quite the whole crew, but we had a lot of them that have been so good. I don't know if I got everybody's name or not, but this is the Group Volunteer of the Year. Called the Ozark Off-Road Cyclists. They have built and rebuilt over 2 miles of our nature trails at Lake Fayetteville, and they logged in over 800 volunteer hours last year, and they're still working on it. So here to receive the award is Phil Penny, Nickel Potter, Steve Snyder, Richie Lamb, Frank Sharp, and Chip Trenton Masters. So we're glad, no, I got that wrong. Trenton Maxwell. I'm sorry, Chuck. So we're very proud to have all of them, and thank you so much for the great work that you have done in our park. And we kind of stole the show there a little bit. We actually thought we should have won like 5 different awards, but we did get 3 of them. The other is to the individual volunteer of the year who worked at Clabber Creek Trail. Raleigh Press, would you please come up? Raleigh has worked over 375 hours on the habitat restoration project there in that park, and we're very proud of that. But he is the State Volunteer of the Year, Raleigh Press.
I tell you what, I would like to give our Parks Department a round of applause tonight. You know, I would like to say something too. I was at I threw out the first pitch at the youth baseball last night, the league. And I will tell this council this. I know we invested about $100,000 in the Walker Park fields. That is the best I have seen those fields, and I can't tell you when. That was a wonderful investment, and all the children and the parents were very excited about those fields. So thank you, council. Okay. All right. On the consent agenda tonight is Number 1, the approval of the April 3rd, 2012 City Council meeting minutes. Number 2, Crane Ford of Little Rock, a resolution approving an agreement with Crane Ford of Little Rock in the total amount of $51,390 for the purchase of 2 Ford Fusion hybrid electric sedans for use by the police department pursuant to the state procurement agreement. Number 3, J.A. Riggs Cat of Springdale, a resolution approving an agreement with J.A. Riggs Cat of Springdale in the total amount of $266,109 for the purchase of 3 backhoe loaders for use by the Water and Sewer Division pursuant to the National Joint Powers Association procurement agreement and approving a budget adjustment. Number 4, bid number 12-23, Prime Contracting Incorporated, resolution awarding bid number 12-23 and authorizing a contract with Prime Contracting Incorporated in the total amount of $168,772.75 for the repair of flood damage to a section of Frisco Trail, approving a 10% project contingency and approving a budget adjustment. Number 5, bid number 12-26, Waste Tech Division of Custer's Zima Corp., a resolution awarding bid number 12-26 and authorizing a contract with Waste Tech Division of Custer's Zima Corp. in the amount of $197,487 for the purchase of a fine band screen with associated controls and accessories for the Nolan wastewater treatment facilities. Number 6, NWA Regional Planning Commission Agreement, a resolution approving an agreement with the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission for services related to the cooperative regional efforts to monitor, evaluate, and report likely effects that future proposed changes to the stream standards and wastewater discharge requirements may have on Northwest Arkansas in the amount of $40,000 and approving $5,000 project contingency. Number 7, CDBG funds remaining from 2011 grant. Resolution approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $37,247 to the Community Development Block Grant Program to accurately reflect funds remaining from the 2011 grant. Number 8, CDBG Habitat for Humanity property purchase reimbursement. Resolution approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $92,333 to Community Development Block Grant Program income related to a housing program lien payoff and a reimbursement from the Habitat for Humanity property purchase. Number 9, 2012 interlocal animal sheltering agreements. Resolution approving 2012 interlocal animal sheltering agreements with the cities of Elm Springs, Elkins, Goshen, Tawnytown, Winslow, Farmington, Greenland, and Westport. Number 10, Southwest Solutions Group, a resolution approving an agreement with Southwest Solutions Group in an amount not to exceed $34,216 for the purchase and installation of a space-saver high-density evidence storage system for the use by the police department pursuant to the National Joint Powers Alliance procurement agreement. Number 11, Cruise Uniforms and Equipment, a resolution approving a contract amendment with the Cruise Uniforms and Equipment as the police department's authorized quartermaster to approve requested price increases. Number 12, amend Resolution 183-11, Botanical Gardens of the Ozark, resolution amending Resolution 183-11, approving a participation and unsecured loan agreement with the Botanical Gardens of the Ozark to install 10 LED lights and poles in the amount of $30,519 as part of the City of Fayetteville Community Revolving Loan Fund for energy efficiency. And number 13, Butterfield Overland Mail Stage Route National Trail, a resolution to express the City Council's support of the Butterfield Overland Mail Stage Route National Trail to become a National Historic Trail.
Mr.
Mayor, we need to remove the minutes from the agenda because the city council has not had a chance to read them.
Okay, what else do we have?
That was what I was going to do.
Okay, so we have the consent agenda without the minutes, and I would ask the council to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion
Yes.
to
Yes.
approve. All right, Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Yes. Boudreaux.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Tennant.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams. Yes. Lewis. Yes.
Okay, under unfinished business, RZN 12-4042, 1700 Old Wire Road, Cooper and Williams. An ordinance rezoning that property described in the rezoning petition RZN 12-4042 for approximately 4.90 acres located at 1700 Old Wire Road from RSF 4, residential single family, 4 units per acre, to NC neighborhood conservation subject to a bill of assurance. I will Entertain a motion to go to the third and final reading.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to go to the third and final reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Yes. Boudreaux.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Tenet.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
An ordinance rezoning that property described in a rezoning petition RZN 12-4042 for approximately 4.9 acres, located at 1700 Old Wire Road from residential single-family 4 units per acre to neighborhood conservation, subject to a bill of assurance.
Jeremy, you have anything you want to add? Any comments or questions from the council? Any public comment on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council.
May we go to the third and final reading?
Well, we're already there, Della. We're ready to
are we?
vote.
Okay.
Any final comments from the council on this? Okay. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Yes. Boudreaux.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Tenet.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, amend Chapter 161, ADM 12-4085, zoning regulations, RMF 24 setbacks. For an ordinance to amend 161.14, District RMF 24 by repealing the separate setbacks for multifamily structures built within the Hillside Hilltop Overlay District. Entertain a motion to go to the third reading.
So moved. Second.
A motion is second to go to the third reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Yes. Boudreaux.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Tenet.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend section 161.14 district, a residential multifamily 24 units per acre by repealing the separate setbacks for multifamily structures built within the Hillside Hilltop Overlay District.
Okay, council. What do we have on this? Any questions for the staff, or staff, do you have anything you want to add?
I think Andrew Martin covered it last time. Really the intent was, before 2009, before we had urban residential design standards, we required a building setback of 25 feet. When the Hillside Hilltop Overlay District was adopted, we actually reduced that primarily because usually a hillside lot where there's a street, most of the disturbance is happening at the street already. So you want to have your building closer to the street where it's already disturbed and leave the back of the lot alone and leave that 25% of the lot in tree canopy and undisturbed area. And so pushing the buildings closer to the street was one of the intents of moving that setback forward. We did the same thing with the urban residential design standards, but we simply left out the change in RMF 24 to require a 25-foot setback. So there's really a conflict there when you're developing in RMF 24 and the Hillside Overlay District with the urban residential design standards. So hopefully this will address that conflict.
Sarah had a question, and then Brenda.
Maybe similar. So I remember the last time we were asking about the flexibility in some cases where it may not, the least impact or the most soil stability may not be closest to the road. And I'm wondering if you can talk about how that is expressed in here.
So the build 2 zone actually allows you to vary between 10 and 25 feet. So there's about a 15-foot range along the front. I certainly would think we would take that, soil stability, tree preservation. If the trees happen to be at the front of the lot, those are types of things that we look at as a unique consideration for any kind of variance on a lot-by-lot basis. It's not something we can apply for an entire development or the entire city, but on a case-by-case basis, we can certainly take a look at that and make a recommendation accordingly.
Okay. And in general, it makes sense to me that there's already going to be construction near the road where the roads are planned, and so pushing the footprint of the house closer to that as well makes sense. But thank you.
Okay.
Basically, that was just my question. I want to make sure that if that was not the best scenario as far as disturbing the soil, that there would be a variance.
Yes.
And so-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody else? What public comment do we have on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council. We're on the third and final reading. Any final comments from the council on this? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray. Yes. Boudreaux.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Tenet.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, under new business, APGR Green Incorporated, a resolution certifying the City of Fayetteville's endorsement of APGR Green Incorporated, located in Fayetteville, Arkansas, to participate in the Arkansas Equity Investment Tax Credit Program. Who has this on staff? Okay.
I have that, Mayor. The city staff was approached by the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce as our economic development partner. There's a letter in your packet where they requested that the city have this agenda item in support of APGR Green Incorporated. Its request to participate in the state of Arkansas's Equity Investment Tax Program. Outlined in this, the product is an environmentally safe, non-toxic item. We did ask company representatives with Chung to be here tonight to speak based on your requested agenda session. This has no financial impact to the city of Fayetteville, but is required as a part of qualifying for this particular tax credit program.
Okay, what questions do we have, Chief of Staff?
Kind of tell my question, and I appreciate the council allowing this to be moved to the new business. My hesitation on this is that what we're considering is the endorsement of the business so that then they can get a tax credit. And the thing that I want to be clear is, of course, I want to be supportive of new business, and I'm so glad that we work with an organization that's helping us get new business. I want the council to be really careful about what we're endorsing, because that's what this is asking. Is we're asking to endorse a business, and I want us to be careful, because the general question I was asking is, why would I want to endorse a tax credit for something that's going to cost the community money later to clean up? Because as much as something is EPA approved, it's still a toxin and it's still a pesticide, and it's going into the soil that will then erode and run off and into the water supply. So just keep that in. I think that that's an important thing to be thinking about, and I understand that there is a demand, and this has been reviewed, and the chemicals, but something that kills fire ants and moles, that's a mammal and an insect, and that's a broad spectrum insecticide and pesticide. So it has been reviewed, and as far as it's EPA approved and so on, and they have review systems, but the reality is these are all chemicals that we need to be aware of. And the question is, and I have questions, and I'm glad that you invited, I think I see Steve out there. I have questions about what this means, and why aren't is this available as a tax credit system available to other businesses, and what's the relationship with this business that's requesting it?
Why don't we just start this way? Why don't we have the company or the Chamber of Commerce come up and address it, then we'll ask the questions. I think I probably jumped ahead of stuff. That's my normal procedure, to have the council ask questions first, but we probably need either a presentation from the company or the Chamber of Commerce or someone. So who'd like to come up?
We'll both appear if that's all right, Mayor.
That's fine.
John Candy, we have the owners of the
Hi, my name is Chang Tan. I'm the manager for economic development of the Chamber of Commerce. Would you like, Alderman Lewis, you asked kind of a two-portion question. One is directed to the company, and then the other one, as far as the tax credit is concerned, that one will be something that I could answer. Okay. So would you like to maybe direct all the questions to the company first and then to us, to me, or how would you like it?
I think we'll start with Alderwoman Lewis, because I know that she had some questions.
I think
two questions.
Yeah, the context, as far as what's there's the request to the Arkansas Economic Development Commission to seek approval for income tax credits, and which I understand why a business would do that, and I think that makes sense. I'm just wondering, is this available to all businesses? And we haven't seen this very often before.
Yes, this tax credit is available to any company in the state of Arkansas. This is a state of Arkansas income tax credit that is given to a company, and they have certain criteria that is set by the AEDC. First of all, you have to make sure that the company qualifies, and then after that, then they have to actually make the application. And then AEDC usually then will vet it through, and then when it looks good, then usually then AEDC comes to us and then say, okay, now the next thing we need is a resolution from your city supporting this company in their application for the tax credit. And what this one is usually for a startup company and with high technology that is involved in it, and usually they want it to be a technology that can be patented. And another criteria is that they look at how many new jobs are created, what is the annual payroll, what is the average pay, and then also what is the potential for this company to bring benefits to the state of Arkansas. So what happens is that when this company, APGR, approached us, first of all, we recommended them to the Innovate Arkansas. And Innovate Arkansas is, again, another state agencies that help with new startup high-tech company. And what they do is, again, they take their business plan, they take their financial statement, and they look into everything. And then, so this is kind of like the first round of venting to say that, okay, you know, is this company, does this company qualify? And then after Innovate Arkansas decides that yes, they meet all the criteria, then they make the recommendations to the AEDC to take a look at it. So then AEDC have their own business and financial people to look at the numbers to say that, okay, now they look at from the tax credit part of it, will they be qualified? And what this tax credit does is actually, it encourages investors, because as you probably are aware, as a startup company, sometimes it's very difficult to get investors interested to invest their money in a startup company because there is no historical data to show that, you know, whatever they're saying works. So this credit is created to give an opportunity to the investor to say that, okay, if I'm going to invest $100,000 in this company, then with this approval, the state of Arkansas actually give them X dollars back in terms of tax credit. And they can use this tax credit to offset their own income tax, or they can actually sell it. They can actually sell those tax credit to, for example, a bank, and usually maybe about 60 cents to the dollar. And so the bank then can, you know, can make use of that tax credit to kind of like offset their own income tax liability to the state. So this is kind of like a tool that is provided by the state of Arkansas to help our startup companies. And so we felt confident that this company have done their homework and have developed a business plan that not only meet our expectations, but also those of Innovate Arkansas and also AEDC. So this is the last piece of document that they need actually before AEDC make their final decision to actually award them the credit or not.
Sir, you have any questions for Chuck? Gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you'd like to tell us a little bit about your company and...
Sure. My name is Sam Noto. I'm going to be serving as the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I've been a resident here in Arkansas for about a little over 18 years, working for a variety of packaged goods companies that range from multinational companies to also startup companies. My partner here, David Jones, is actually... Go ahead, David.
My name is David Jones, and I'm the president and actually the inventor, excuse me, of the product that we're going to produce. And I mean, we're a brand new startup, and what we're asking for is help to get this. This is an incentive to our investors. It does nothing for us as a company as far as the tax credits are concerned. This is an incentive to help us raise capital to get our business going, to create jobs and get the thing up and running. So this is of no benefit to us as a company other than to help us as an incentive to raise capital through investors.
So you're saying that you created the product that you're going to use.
Right.
Did you use third-party review of the chemical, or how did it get? What was the process for getting EPA approval?
Painful.
Yeah.
We've been
2 years worth.
2 years worth. We've been working with the patent office. We've been working with the EPA. We've worked with a variety of universities. We've gotten through the EPA process, which was a major milestone that had to deal with wave and toxicology, and also reviewing results. I mean, and I understand and appreciate your concern regarding poisons and impacts to the water table. And actually, there's a big problem out there. There are a lot of people that are opposed to actually use the current products that are on the shelf, because the caution statements are so bad to where if your pet licks it or steps on it and tracks it back into the house, there are major concerns. We're actually using I guess we can say what it is.
Well, it's a compressed gas.
It's compressed
and there
gas.
is no runoff. It's actually food grade.
It's food grade.
It's food grade.
It goes into every soda that you drink. Comes out of our mouth whenever we exhale. It's a very simple and environmentally safe. It'll be the first and only product like it in the marketplace, and it gives consumers an opportunity to buy something else who choose not to hurt the water table and the poisons and chemicals that you mentioned. It'll be a one-of-a-kind product. And
actually, what our product will do is every time somebody buys our product, it will do away with runoff that goes into the ground, because there is no runoff with our product, and like I said, it's all.
It actually helps plant life development and photosynthesis, etc.
Super interesting. I'm so glad you had a chance to tell about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
and it is a pesticide, and that's where the trick lies. Is we've always called it a pesticide. It's not a pesticide.
But it's really not a chemical-based pesticide, but in order to sell it as a pesticide and be on the shelf next to all the products that are in that area, you have to have an EPA registration.
Right.
So is there licensing and certification associated with the application of the process? Is that how you manage this?
The actual patent is owned by David.
Okay.
The products come in they're actually, it's a combination of products that are in the marketplace today. He came up with the delivery system that goes into the ground directly to the pest.
So you're owning the patent on the application as well as in the process?
It's the application process, yes.
Okay. Sounds like an advancement to me, because I was also worried about contamination of air and water. So it sounds like a great advance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brenda, did you have a question?
No,
Okay.
I think I support it. I think it's a good thing.
You know, my question would be, why wouldn't we want to help on a deal like this?
Yeah.
Somebody starting
That's our
out.
feeling too.
You know, if
Mr.
you
Mayor
got-
and
if-
Council, if I might, this company's worked very diligently for 24 months, more than 24 months. The reason the state has this vetting process, and we go through this process, is to make sure this is not someone who just shows up, says, I have a great idea, give me some tax credits, and let's see if we can't sell this product or this company. These gentlemen have spent hours and hours and hours answering questions asked of them by regulators in the scientific field, and the health field, and environmental field, and then on the financial side. And they've had to produce exhausting work plans, financials, pro formas. So the state says to us, before you come to us, and we obviously went to the Arkansas Economic Development Commission and said, we support this effort. These gentlemen visited with a lot of folks, and then we answered all the questions they have. So we stand here to tell you that this is an indication and an example of entrepreneurship. These are people who came together with an idea, and they worked hard to get it to put together. They have it put together. But for them to go forward, they need your endorsement of their entrepreneurship.
Mayor, I was just going to say, knowing this community and establishment of entrepreneurs, I don't think they'd be coming forward here if they had if everything wasn't right up front. And when I see EPA approved, gentlemen, my hope is that your business gets started, that we approve this, and that your business grows, and that you do well, and continue to hire people, and the business continues to grow. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Sarah?
So in my day job, we look at the life cycle of products, and we are looking at hot spots, and 100% of food and body wash products all have pesticide and herbicide hot spots. And we are always looking for innovative ways to minimize those things. And so that's why I wanted to bring this forward, because we can't keep doing the same thing, and we have been doing the same thing with EPA-approved pesticides. So this is a great opportunity to hear about, not the secret recipe, but a little bit about what the vision is. And so I really appreciate you taking time tonight. And sure, of course, we want to support those innovative designs and business ideas. So appreciate you taking time to tell us about it, and for the council to consider it.
And I was born in Fayetteville, and I'll probably die here in Fayetteville. So this business thrives, it will thrive here. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Justin.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for your diligence and your patience. I know you filed with the SEC last summer. I mean, you've had, you said 18 months, but it takes a lot of patience, and you can give up on these things pretty easy. So thank you for sticking with it, and hopefully we can help it in some way.
All right. Thank you all.
Any other questions from council on this? Any public comment on this, besides what we've already heard? I'll bring it back to council.
Mayor, move we approve the resolution.
We have a motion and second to approve the resolution. Any final comments from the council? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Okay, number 2, bid number 12-11, Sweetser Construction. Resolution awarding bid number 12-11 and approving a contract with Sweetser Construction in the amount of $1,759,900.15 for the construction of a roundabout at the Fulbright Expressway and Fayetteville Drive, approving a project contingency of $90,000 and approving a budget adjustment.
Yes. Thank you,
Chris?
Mayor. This project's been a long time coming. It's part of funding through the 2005 highway bill at the federal earmark for this project. So we're very excited to finally bring this forward to you for construction. We received 4 construction bids on March 26th. Sweetser Construction, longtime contractor in the city, was the low bidder. The contract time for this is 6 months, which is a pretty short time frame. We are going to try to work with them to get started as soon as possible, hopefully the early part of May, to finish by the fall. One other thing I do need to mention, this is in front of the council for approval tonight. It also, because of the federal aid funding, is in front of the highway department and federal highways. So this is contingent on their approval. We don't have that yet, but we are expecting that any day. As I said, federal aid is paying for a portion of this. They're paying 80%, so about $1.4 million of the contract will be paid with federal aid dollars. The city's portion is about $350,000. This was presented to the street committee on March 27th. The street committee recommends approval, and staff also recommends approval. I'll answer any questions.
What questions do we have for Chris on this? Okay. What public comment do we have on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council.
Mayor, I got a comment.
Okay.
You know, there's going to be people that don't like the roundabout. That once again, it's a little change. But if you study and you read up about the roundabouts where they're put in, and you see the amount of safety that exist after they are there, and the decrease in the number of T-bone accidents, and you know, it keeps the traffic moving. But the safety is the biggest thing here. And with that, Mayor, I would move that we approve the Brown roundabout.
Right. Let me get a second.
Second.
And any other comments?
I would just say that if we were going to put one of these anywhere in Fayetteville, I think this is where I would put it. That area is kind of a mess sometimes in traffic, and I think this will keep it flowing on and off 540 and around the. I think it'd be great.
And Mayor, I would like to say that I certainly agree. I think this is where we need this particular thing. Thank you.
Okay.
And Mayor, I'd like to say that I was asked to pass on to Chris that we need the next one down by the Razorback baseball field. A Ward 4 citizen thinks that would be a great place for roundabout number 2, so it's good.
That might not be a bad idea.
Any other comments from the council? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, amend third.
Mayor, before you start that, could I say something before Chris leaves? As you know, that we've had a record prior to today of never having to go to court and to try a condemnation case. Well, this morning, Chris and the Assistant City Attorney were in court to try a condemnation case, but I'm happy to report that after the jury was selected, they were able to actually reach a settlement, less than half of what he was demanding, less than his appraisal, more than what we had, so we met in the middle. It's all subject to your approval, which will be presented at the next city council meeting, but I appreciated Chris's help with this. He was the city's representative there.
Well
And before he
done.
left, I just wanted to let you all know what happened today.
Well done. Well
Good
done.
job.
I don't know if Chris has anything he wants to add.
No, we,
Day.
Set it all today. Go home.
okay, thank you, Kit. All right, number 3, amend 34.27, sale of municipally owned real property. An ordinance to repeal 34.27 of the Code of Fayetteville and to enact a replacement 34.27, sale of municipally owned real property of the Code of Fayetteville. Kit?
Whereas Section 34.27 of the Code of Fayetteville was enacted on January 2nd, 2002, in an attempt to ensure that the citizens of Fayetteville would receive the highest possible amount of money for parcel of city property if the city council determined to sell such property because it no longer served a municipal purpose. And whereas the number of notices, publications, appraisals, city council hearings, and public bidding process made this selling process so cumbersome, long, and expensive that the ordinance was amended by the City Council in 2002, 2004, and 2005 to provide numerous exemptions from Section 34.27's requirements for various types of land sales. And whereas in the decade of its existence, the full process specified in Section 34.27 for the sale of city property to a private entity has occurred only once, took months to accomplish, and resulted in only a single bidder who purchased the property at the minimum set price for the city land. And whereas state law specifically authorizes that only the city council can sell city land by passing a resolution or can exchange land with another city by passing an ordinance, thus ensuring that the city council will always have the final say in any proposed city land sale or exchange. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby repeals Section 34.27 of the Code of Fayetteville and enacts replacement Section 34.27, sale of municipally owned real property of the Code of Fayetteville as shown below. Sale of municipally owned real property, subsection A. The city may sell real property only after the City Council has passed a resolution expressly authorizing such sale. The City Council shall determine whether the property should be rezoned or appraised prior to its sale. Subsection B. Such City Council resolution shall contain a specific finding by the City Council that the subject real property is no longer needed for municipal purposes. Subsection C. Public notice. That the City Council is public notice that the City Council is considering the sale of real property at a City Council meeting with the appropriate date and time of the meeting, in which shall include the property's address, acreage, improvements, and potential purchase price, shall be given not less than 15 days before the City Council may consider a resolution to approve a sale of city real property, except rights of way or easements for public utilities, by all of the following means. Number 1, first-class mail to all adjacent property owners. Number 2, prominently displayed signs on the property. And number 3, publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the city. Subsection D. The city may exchange real and personal property with other cities or Washington County only after authorizing by ordinance passed by the City Council. The City Council, through such ordinance, may place limits on the uses that will be allowed of such property as part of the exchange of the property agreement.
Do you want to, I know the ordinance review, and I know the ordinance review did a fantastic job on this. I just want y'all to know that. And so, Brenda.
Well, I'll just speak as chair of the Ordinance Review Committee, and I think we did have some concerns early on, and a few more changes were tweaked in there, but I think we're, we recommended it unanimously, and it maintains the city's power to ensure that the property is properly zoned and appraised if advisable. That was one of the changes, because we don't necessarily need to require an appraisal in all cases. And so that was a good change. So, I feel like it is good. It doesn't change anything that we were concerned about, the reason we passed it to begin with, or,
Yes,
so,
you remember that.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I just have a question. Kit, I think y'all did do a good job, Brenda. Thanks for doing that. But in the last paragraph, the bottom last paragraph, it says, the city council through such ordinance may place limits on the uses that will be allowed of such property as part of the exchange of property agreement. Wouldn't we probably expect reciprocal prohibitions from the other side when we do this?
Yes, it could very well happen. This is only when we're exchanging between another government.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's a specific state statute, says it must be by ordinance. And they very well might want to put restrictions if they're exchanging property with us, but we might also just sell property.
Yeah.
And they might do the same thing, and of course, we will be looking at to protect our residents just like they would.
Sure they will. The reason I pointed out is, I think we should, if and when that comes about, we should be reasonable in our needed prohibitions, because there's going to be an expectation that it could complicate the trade. That's all.
I would think that probably you all would know exactly what this property is going to be used for if you're trading it or selling it to another city. For example, when we did the easement with Springdale.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of those caveats on that, which was a pretty good deal. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Sarah?
One thing that came up during ordinance review was the fact that this more closely aligns with our other notification processes, so it's more consistent across the zoning notification, so this is the same, so it becomes just an expectation that that's the amount of time people get used to.
That's correct.
Matthew?
I wasn't able to attend the ordinance review committee meeting because I was out of town, but I did see my suggestions worked in. I was only curious what our plans were tonight, if Cyrus Young and Fran Alexander, the two who commented on this the last time this came up at a council meeting, had a chance to give input at the ordinance review committee meeting, or if we needed to hold this tonight, or...
No, they were not at the ordinance review committee meeting. And, you know, we can certainly hold this. I mean, although I think that their concerns, as I recall, had to do with notification. Mm-hmm. And we have left the notification very much like it was. We have, well, as Sarah said, we've made it more in line with notifications on everything else we do in the city. Seems like the other concern, well, when the original ordinance, we did require appraisals, and that's, I mean, this leaves that up to the council. We can require one if we feel needed, but it's needed, but many times it's not. And the other thing that I think we changed that I think is, I don't believe they would object to, originally we had to sell to the highest bidder. And that doesn't make sense, because many times we can, we might have a piece of property that would sell to a business, excuse me, that, as Kip pointed out, might provide needed services to our citizens, or clean technology jobs, that sort of thing. So, I mean, we can certainly hold it on this reading if you think that's advisable, but I've not heard from them, and I really feel like that both of them stay very up to date on what the council is doing, and if they had had any concerns, they would have been aware of the ordinance review committee, because we talked about it. But that's fine with me to leave it on the, or maybe just go to the second reading. So I'd make a motion to go to the second reading, and then
Second.
Okay. Do y'all mind if I get a little public comment?
Sure.
Sure. Who wants to address us on this?
I'll be shepherd. I missed some of the best stuff already, but you guys are going really fast tonight. Good job. On this, one concern I would have is that does this make a distinction between donated property for parks and nature areas and things like that, or is it strictly something on the border that such as in the already designated commercial industrial zone?
Well, there are restrictions in state law concerning about how we acquired the land and whether we can get rid of it that way. For example, if we have parks that have been dedicated to us, then we can't turn around and sell that. This is other sorts of land that we usually have acquired, probably even through purchase or something, that is no longer needed for the corporate purposes. that's probably where this is gonna be, what would be affected by this. We don't sell a lot of land, but parks have their own protection under state law that we would have to make sure we were complying with before you could ever sell land regardless of what this ordinance says.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council. We have a motion and a second to advance it to the second reading, right, and then hold it there. Sorry, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
An ordinance to repeal section 34.27 of the Code of Fayetteville and to enact a replacement section 34.27, sale of municipally owned real property of the Code of Fayetteville.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, number 4, AOS LLC Cisco IP Telephony System. Resolution approving an agreement with the AOS LLC in the amount of $619,978.90 for the purchase of a Cisco IP telephony system pursuant to a state procurement contract, approving a project contingency of $25,000 and approving a budget adjustment of $248,750. Paul?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This will be kind of a unique evening. It's very rare that you'll see me say that I'm excited about a $645,000 investment, but I am here. This was brought forward to us by the technology assessment group and indicated to us that there would be substantial savings if we changed the technology related to the telephone systems and consolidated things. We would save approximately $101,000 a year in operating costs by the use of this equipment, which means we have a 6-year payback for our investment. So here we got kind of a double bonus. We get quick payback, and we can substantially upgrade our technology with this particular purchase. Therefore, staff is recommending that we make that purchase. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
What questions do we have for Paul on this? Okay. What public comment do we have on this? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. And so?
Shall we go to the second reading?
Well, this is a resolution.
I got a comment, Mayor.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Sure.
Well, we have a motion and a second now. What would you, Bobby?
I was just gonna say, you know, I said this at the agenda session, that when Don first brought this up about the technology and IT assessment, that I think this is very consistent because the council decided to allocate the funds to look at the assessment. And now we have a case where implementation is coming about. And I suspect that what we looked at, not only just on the capital investment, but with the potential that this has, that we're going to see savings, significant savings that I'm sure that you'll figure out how to put some kind of metric to. But I think this is good. This is what we looked at, and being consistent, I'll certainly support it.
What other comments do we have? Justin?
This is kind of a passion of mine when it comes to technology, and I looked at this in 3 ways. One, the technology itself, 2, the Cisco partner that we were going into this venture with, and then the system cost itself, the hardware, software, and professional services that it entailed. And I can tell the citizens, I think, unquestionably, that this will help our productivity, efficiency, and management of our city. I think anytime you can add technology of this quality to an already pretty well-run staff, but unfortunately they're working with not the best technology. This puts it together in a consistent platform that we can grow from here. I think that's the biggest thing about this particular network is you've got different pieces of different phone systems around in the city, and this will put everything together so that there's easier ways to add and move and change things without having to worry about, is the network going to completely collapse because one box can't talk to another. As far as, so that on the technology side, I think is a great thing. From the partner itself, I know of AOS very well. I know of the sales team, the engineering team, and I can say without a doubt, I'm confident that they can do this work and help us as we move forward. And we'll definitely hold them to it, I assure them. From a system cost perspective, this is a big chunk of money, but when you put some sort of dollar figure on what we gain from this moving forward, as Bobby said, you put a year one savings. What's the value of an hour of an employee's time that is now spent doing something else rather than fighting with a phone system? You start adding those dollars up over time, and this actually shrinks considerably from an initial standpoint. So I hope the citizens are happy with us doing this. I think it's a really good thing for us to do.
Any other comments? When I came into this office, we looked at the IT system and we thought, we got to really make some improvements, because I had come from the university and everything was just you push a button and you were there, which I was really amazed that we didn't have those kind of systems in place in the city of Fayetteville. So we decided to make improvements to the IT. And you came into office. I came into office. We needed $6 million for radio system for the police to keep them safe. You have to make those kind of investments, and in the long term, there's a short-term investment and a short-term cost, but the long-range savings, it'll pay off for itself in the long run. We're advancing the city to another level by doing this. So thank you all, and thank the staff that worked on this, chief of staff. Thank you all very much. Okay, if there's not any other comments, Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray?
Yes.
Boudreaux?
Yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Petty?
Yes.
Tennant?
Yes.
Farrell?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, number 5, Water and Sewer System Refunding Revenue Bond Series 2012. An ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of not to exceed $3,800,000 of Water and Sewer System Refunding Revenue Bonds Series 2012 by the City Council of Fayetteville, Arkansas, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding Water and Sewer System Refunding Revenue Bonds Series 2002B, authorizing the execution and delivery of a third supplemental trust indenture pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be issued and secured, authorizing the execution and delivery of an official statement pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be offered, authorizing the execution and delivery of a bond pursuant agreement providing for the sale of the Series 2012 bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of an escrow deposit agreement providing for the redemption of the Series 2002B bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of a continuing disclosure agreement and prescribing other matters relating thereto.
Mayor, you're doing fine. You could just, oh no, I'll go ahead. Whereas the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, a city of the first class, presently owns and operates a public water and sewer utility system, the system serving the residents of the city and its environs. And whereas the city is authorized and empowered under the provisions of the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arkansas, including particularly Amendment 65 to the Constitution, and Arkansas Code annotated sections 14-164-401 et sec, and section 14-234-201 et sec, and sections 14-235-201 et sec, collectively and is from time to time amended the authorizing legislation to issue and sell its water and sewer revenue bonds and to expend the proceeds thereof to finance the costs of acquisition, construction, equipping, improving, maintaining, operating, and repairing the system, and to refund any bonds issued under the authorizing legislation. And whereas, pursuant to the provisions of ordinance number 4381 of the city, adopted and approved on March 19, 2002, the city has previously issued its water and sewer system refunding bonds, Series 2002A and Series 2002B, collectively the Series 2002 bonds, in the original principal amount of $9,270,000 for the purpose of refunding outstanding bonds of the city previously issued to finance and refinance the cost of improvements to the system. And whereas pursuant to the provisions of ordinance number 4554 of the city, adopted and approved on April 6, 2004, the city has previously issued its water and sewer system refunding revenue bond series 2004 in the original principal amount of $6,090,000 for the purpose of refunding outstanding bonds of the city previously issued to finance and refinance the cost of improvements to the system. And whereas pursuant to the provisions of ordinance number 5235 of the city adopted and approved on April 21st, 2009, the city has previously issued its water and sewer system revenue bond series 2009 in the original principal amount of $8,210,000 for the purpose of financing the cost improvements to the system. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of the authorizing legislation, the city has now determined to issue its water and sewer system refunding revenue bond series 2012 in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $3,800,000 for the purpose of refunding all of the outstanding series 2002 B bonds and paying printing, underwriting, legal, and other expenses incidental to the issuance of the series of 2012 bonds. And whereas the city has determined to issue and secure the series 2012 bonds on a parity basis with its outstanding series 2004 bonds, series 2009 bonds pursuant to that certain trust indenture dated as of May 1st, 2002, as amended and supplemented by a first supplemental trust indenture dated on May 1st, 2004, and by a second supplemental trust indenture dated as of June 1st, 2009, as amended and supplemented the original indenture by and between the city and the Bank of Oklahoma, formerly the Bank of Oklahoma N.A., Tulsa, Oklahoma, as trustee. As such, original indenture may be amended and supplemented pursuant to a third supplemental trust indenture by and between the city and the trustee, a form of which third supplemental indenture has been presented to and is before this meeting. And whereas the city proposes to enter into a bond purchase agreement in substantially the form presented to and before this meeting with Stevens Incorporated, Fayetteville, Arkansas, the underwriter, provided for the sale of the system's 2012 bonds. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council hereby finds and declares that the current refunding of the Series 2002 B bonds is in the best interest of the city and the customers of the system due to the reduction of the interest expense related to the indebtedness represented by the Series 2002 B bonds. Section 2, under the authority of the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arkansas, including particularly Amendment 65 to the Constitution of Arkansas and the authorizing legislation, there is hereby authorized the issuance of bonds of the city to be designated as the Water and Sewer System Refunding Revenue Bond Series 2012. The Series 2012 bonds shall be issued in the original aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $3,800,000, shall mature not later than August 15, 2017, shall bear interest at the rate specified in the bond purchase agreement. The average yield on the Series 2012 bond shall not exceed 2% per annum. The proceeds of refunding of the Series 2002 B bonds and to pay printing, underwriting, legal, and other expenses incidental to the issuance of the Series 2012 bonds. The Series 2012 bonds shall be issued in the forms and denominations, shall be dated, shall be numbered, shall mature, shall be subject to redemption prior to maturity, and shall contain such other terms, covenants, and conditions, all as set forth in the original indenture as amended and supplemented by the third supplemental indenture. The Series 2012 bonds shall be issued and secured by net revenues of the system on a parity basis with the pledge of net revenues securing the outstanding Series 2004 bonds and Series 2009 bonds. The mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver the Series 2012 bonds in substantially the form thereof contained in the third supplemental indenture submitted to this meeting, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver the Series 2012 bonds and to affix the seal of the city thereto, and the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to cause the Series 2012 bonds to be accepted and authenticated by the trustee. The mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the trustee, the underwriter, and Kutak Rock LLP, Little Rock, Arkansas, Bond Counsel, in order to complete the Series 2012 bonds in substantially the form contained in the third supplemental indenture submitted to this meeting, with such changes as shall be approved by such persons executing the Series 2012 bonds, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Section 3, to prescribe the terms and conditions upon which the Series 2012 bonds are to be executed, authenticated, issued, accepted, held, and secured. The mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute and acknowledge the third supplemental trust indenture by and between the city and the trustee, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to execute and acknowledge the third supplemental indenture and to affix the seal of the city thereto. And the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to cause the third supplemental indenture to be accepted, executed, acknowledged by the trustee. The third supplemental indenture is hereby approved in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, including without limitation the provisions thereof pertaining to the pledge of the system net revenues to the Series 2012 bonds and the terms of the Series 2012 bonds. The mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the trustee, the underwriter, and bond counsel in order to complete the third supplemental indenture in substantially the form submitted to this meeting with such changes as shall be approved by such persons executing the third supplemental indenture, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Advice is given that a copy of the third supplemental indenture in substantially the form authorized to be executed is on file with the city clerk and available for inspection by any interested person. Section 4. There is hereby authorized and approved a preliminary official statement of the city, including the cover page and appendixes attached thereto relating to the Series 2012 bonds. The preliminary official statement is hereby deemed final by the city within the meaning of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Rule 15C2-12. The distribution of the preliminary official statement is hereby approved. The preliminary official statement, as amended to conform with the terms of the bond purchase agreement, including Exhibit A thereto, and with such other changes and amendments as are mutually agreed to by the city and the underwriter, is hereby referred to as the official statement. And the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the official statement for and on behalf of the city. The official statement is hereby approved in substantially the form as the preliminary official statement submitted to this meeting, and the mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the trustee, the underwriter, and bond counsel in order to complete the official statement in substantially the form of the preliminary official statement submitted to this meeting with such changes as shall be approved by such persons. The mayor's execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Advice is given that a copy of the preliminary official statement is on file with the city clerk and is available for inspection by any interested person. Section 5. In order to prescribe the terms and conditions upon which the Series 2012 bonds are to be sold to the underwriter, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute a bond purchase agreement on behalf of the city to be dated as the date of its execution. By and between the city and the underwriter and the bond purchase agreement is hereby approved in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, and the mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the underwriter and bond counsel in order to complete the bond purchase agreement in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, with such changes shall be approved by such persons executing the bond purchase agreement, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Advice is given that a copy of the bond purchase agreement in substantially the form authorized to be executed is on file with the city clerk and is available for inspection by any interested person. Section 6. In order to provide for the redemption of the Series 2002 B bonds, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute an escrow deposit agreement to be dated as of the date of its execution by and between the city and BOKF N.A. doing business at the Bank of Oklahoma as escrow trustee. And the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to cause the escrow agreement to be executed by the escrow trustee. The escrow agreement is hereby approved in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, and the mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the escrow trustee, underwriter, and bond counsel in order to complete the escrow agreement in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, with such changes shall be approved by such persons executing the escrow agreement, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. And again, advice is given that a copy of the escrow agreement in substantially the form authorized to be executed is on file with the city clerk and is available for inspection by any interested person. Section 7. In order to provide for continuing disclosure of certain financial and operating information with respect to the city and the system in compliance with provisions of Rule 15C2-12 of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute a continuing disclosure agreement to be dated as the date of its execution by and between the city and the Bank of Oklahoma as dissemination agent. And the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to cause the continuing disclosure agreement to be executed by the dissemination agent. The continuing disclosure agreement is hereby approved and stamped to the form submitted to this meeting. And the mayor is hereby authorized to confer with the dissemination agent, underwriter, and bond counsel in order to complete the continuing disclosure agreement in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, with such changes as shall be approved by such persons executing the continuing disclosure agreement, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. And advice is given that a copy of the continuing disclosure agreement in substantially the form authorized to be executed is on file with the city clerk and is available for inspection by any interested person. Section 8. The rates for the system water services enacted pursuant to ordinance number 5123, adopted and approved on April 1st, 2008, and the rates for system sewer services enacted pursuant to ordinance number 5129, adopted and approved on April 15th, 2008, and ordinance 5438, adopted and approved on September 20th, 2011, are hereby ratified and confirmed. Section 9. The mayor and city clerk, for and behalf of the city, are hereby authorized and directed to do any and all things necessary to effect the issuance, sale, execution, delivery of the Series 2012 bonds, and to effect the execution, delivery of the third supplemental indenture, the bond purchase agreement, the official statement, the escrow agreement, the continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax regulatory agreement relating to the tax exemption of interest on the Series 2012 bonds, and to perform all other obligations of the city under and pursuant thereto. The mayor and the city clerk are further authorized and directed for and behalf of the city to execute all papers, documents, certificates, and other instruments that may be required for the carrying out of such authority or to evidence the exercise thereof. Section 10. The Series 2012 bonds are hereby designated as, quote, qualified tax-exempt obligations, unquote, within the meaning of Section 265B3 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended. The city hereby represents and covenants that the aggregate principal amount of its tax-exempt obligations, excluding private activity bonds within the meaning of Section 141 of the Code, including those of its subordinate entities issued in the calendar year 2012, will not exceed $10 million. Section 11. Kutak Rock LLP, Little Rock, Arkansas is hereby appointed to act as bond counsel on behalf of the city in connection with the issuance and sale of the Series 2012 bonds. Section 12, that the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable, and if any phrase, section, phrase, or provision shall be for any reason be declared illegal or invalid, such declaration shall not affect the validity of the remainder of the sections, phrases, or provisions of this ordinance. Section 13, that all ordinances, resolutions, and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Okay. Paul?
Good evening, Mayor. We have the opportunity of refunding sewer and water bonds dated 2002. We'll issue $3.8 million worth of bonds to do that. The bonds will be outstanding for 6 years. It's a straight refunder, and we will pay a reduced interest rate, so it's just like a home mortgage refinancing at a lesser interest rate. So we hope to save up to $250,000 by doing this.
I have a question about that amount. Is that over the 6 years?
Life of the bond.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Life of the bond.
Bobby?
Was that the possible expected savings, Paul? Is that net?
Oh, after expenses, you mean?
Yeah, the 260.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think timing is everything, Mayor, and I think that, you know, the time is right. If we can save some money here, and with that, I would move we suspend the rules and go second reading.
Second.
Okay, let me get some public comment. Who wants to address us from the public? Come on, Bob. Or Mr. Shepherd, I'm sorry.
Aubrey Shepherd. Mr. Mayor, Council, if that was just one reading, I'm going home.
What was that?
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to the council. We have a motion and a second to go to the second reading, correct?
That's right.
Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of not to exceed $3,800,000 of water and sewer system refunding revenue bonds, Series 2012, by the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding water and sewer system refunding revenue bond, Series 2002B, authorizing the execution and delivery of a third supplemental trust indenture pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be issued and secured, authorizing the execution and delivery of an official statement pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be offered, authorizing the execution and delivery of a bond purchase agreement providing for the sale of the Series 2012 bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of an escrow deposit agreement providing for the redemption of the Series 2002 bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of a continuing disclosure agreement and prescribing other matters relating thereto. I note that we have our bond counsel here in the room. If anybody has any questions for Gordon Wilburn, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Gordon? Okay, Gordon.
I just want to take the opportunity to apologize for how long it is. I shortened it up as much as I could.
It's good. Yes, you did, Kevin. Okay, we're on the third reading. I will entertain a motion to go to the third reading.
Yes.
Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go to the third and final reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of not to exceed $3,800,000 worth of water and sewer system refunding revenue bonds, Series 2012, by the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding water and sewer system refunding revenue bond, Series 2002B. Authorizing the execution and delivery of a third supplemental trust indenture pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be issued and secured. Authorizing the execution and delivery of an official statement pursuant to which the Series 2012 bonds will be offered. Authorizing the execution and delivery of a bond purchase agreement providing for the sale of the Series 2012 bonds. Authorizing the execution and delivery of an escrow deposit agreement providing for the redemption of the Series 2002B bonds. Authorizing the execution and delivery of a continuing disclosure agreement and prescribing other matters relating thereto.
Any final comments from the council on this?
Mayor, I got one more question for Paul. Paul, will the savings that comes back, reading the first of the ordinance, I was noticing that it would be used for water and sewer expenses, but it will be rebudgeted as needed, right? It won't go to. How is that handled? And I know it doesn't come all at once.
It's just a savings of an expense. So for this year, you won't pay the same expense that you had budgeted for bond interest.
So we'll have less
And in the future, it'll be available to be reprogrammed for future use.
It works a lot like refinancing your house at a lower interest rate, sort of, kind of. A little bigger. Yeah, well, okay, sorry, bad example.
Good analogy.
Any other final comments from the council? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Gray,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Okay, we have an addition.
We have just an informational item. I handed it out, put it at all your places. We had a typo evidently done in September 23rd, 1998 on a deed where we cited the wrong section in a deed, and that's been discovered. The mayor needs to sign a correction deed, and so he wanted to make sure that you all were notified, you know the situation before he signed it. And so if anybody has any questions on it, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think that this is mainly just a housekeeping matter.
I just wanted you all to be aware that the mayor's about to sign this, okay?
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. All right, good?
Yes.
All right, any announcements?
Mayor, I've got several announcements for the council and citizens. First, our ward cleanup that took place in Ward 3 this past Saturday. We collected 36 tons of debris and some metal recyclable materials, and 3 of the wards have completed their spring cleanup. We're at 100.5 tons of waste collected in those 3 cleanups. Ward 2's cleanup, which will be the final spring cleanup before we do the ones in the fall, is scheduled for May the 5th, and their locations will be Woodland Junior High and the Church of Christ on Center Street. I also want to remind the citizens and the council that the 3rd public input session regarding the downtown municipal deck location alternatives will be this Thursday. That's at 4:30 p.m. It will begin in room 219 here at City Hall, and then go from here to the locations. We also have the Mud Creek Trail litter cleanup, which is 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. It's part of the Eco Passport program, so I encourage citizens to go out and help us keep our trails and streams clean with from litter. And I guess the last item, just is something that's a long-term Fayetteville item, is the Cow Patty Run, which actually originally started as a fundraiser for Gully Park and helped build the trails and pavilions there. Will take place this Saturday. The 1 mile run is at 6, the 5K is at 6:30, and this year's benefits will benefit the Fayetteville Public Education Foundation. So there's a lot going on. Check out the city's website, community link, the council members' pages, the mayor's page. Lots happening. Spring has started.
Okay, anybody else? Oh,
There's another, on the 23rd is Skull Creek cleanup as well, that we may not have a chance to announce before.
okay, anything else? Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.